All right, welcome back to another episode of the 2021 MLB Draft Show. Tonight, we are joined by a native of Normal, Illinois. Far from normal on the mound, I will say that much. McCade, I'm sure you've heard that before. McCade Brown, Indiana, welcome to the show.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome, man. Really glad to have you on because we saw your summer stats and they were just insane. So I kind of just want to talk about how your summer went. Because the college results they haven't really been there. But you came out to the Colonels Collegiate League and just balled out. And I just kind of just want to go through that whole experience with you.
Yeah, so definitely kind of had a little bit of a coming out here this summer. Kind of going into that quarantine phase, had a really big focus on trying to improve that command, but also focusing on mechanics a lot, and made some big strides with mechanics, which I think improved that command like I wanted it to, and saw a velo jump with it as well. And I think that was the big reason for the success this summer, was just the ability to be in the zone a little bit. Whereas, looking at the numbers from the past two school seasons, it wasn't too great about being in the zone. I think I had almost like double the walks as the innings. But yeah, that was the big piece for me.
Well, let's not sell you short. I mean, you've got 6 collegiate innings under your belt. You had 4 in 2020. I mean, it's a really small sample size, but the stuff is there. The stuff is big. It's loud. You're 6'6" yourself. It's a prototypical pitcher's body. Can you kind of talk to the viewers, talk to maybe a future fan base after you're drafted on who McCade Brown is and kind of what they're getting in a pitcher?
Yeah. So I guess who I am, like you said, the kid from small town Illinois a little bit. Not a super well known name, I guess, but as for a pitcher, you're kind of getting that guy that's going to grind through things and work hard even through some low points, as you've seen. Trying to get to where I'm at now. But you're going to get a guy that is going to go out and try and compete every day on the mound, sort of thing. So, but yeah, that's the way I would describe it a little bit.
And really quickly, besides the superlatives, how about your arsenal? Talk about what you throw, how you throw it, your spin rates, because all of it's pretty violent stuff.
Yeah, so I'm 4-seam guy. Been toying with a 2-seam here and there, but really haven't got one that's stuck yet. But 4-seam guy with a little bit of an above average spin rate on that, right in the 24 to 2450, 2500 range at times, and so that's that. And then just picked up a curveball in this past year. That's kind of been my go-to this fall so far was that curveball, and more of trying to get that 12-6 action, not as much as a slurve, which it kind of got to slurve a couple times this fall. So that's been a focus of mine. But 12-6 curve, that spike curve is what I go with. And I think that spins up there in 28, 2900 range usually. And then I've been throwing a slider since high school. That's when I'm trying to turn a little bit more into that hard cutterish type thing rather than a more of the slurve. But that's been kind of a pitch that the past 2 years was that in my fastball that I had, and it's still a pitch I really like now and trust. So have that, and that one spins up near the 28, 29 as well. And then the changeup is something I've really tried to work on this past year. This summer was kind of big for me with that. Is I didn't throw it a ton of games, but bullpens and stuff, I was just hitting it heavy as much as I could, trying to get the feel for it. And this fall, I was able to throw it a little bit more, but still getting pretty comfortable with that.
Last thing, really quick, Tyler. McCade, on the fastball, we've got some of your fall bullpens, 94, 96, touching a couple 7s. Can you give us an update there? Kind of where does that heater sit?
Yeah, that's kind of right around where it's been this past couple months was that 94, 95 up to the 6 and 7 range. But that's something that really came on this past year. Before I was mainly 2 to 3 up to 4, 5 here and there. But the mechanic piece this summer, I think, was what helped me get to that point.
Big gains.
Awesome to see. And of course, nothing's guaranteed at this point. COVID going on with spring ball. Say we do get a spring season. What's your overall goal? What's your main goal in terms of how to compete and how to show out to scouts in the spring, so that way you can rise up boards a little more?
Yeah, so I think just first off, as a team goal, it's always the same thing of we want to win the Big Ten again and make those runs, and you always have the team goal of potentially hosting a regional and that sort of thing. But personal goals, like you said, trying to raise myself up a little bit there would just be going out and proving that, I can go late into games, that I can actually just pitch in games. I think just getting those innings under my belt and proving that I can be pretty helpful to the team is just kind of that big piece.
You talked big on the mechanics side of things this summer. It seems like you had a bit of a breakthrough there. Can you dive in a little bit and tell us maybe what part of your operation was cleaned up and kind of had that click?
Yeah. So mechanically, I was always like that kind of quad dominant, get up on the toe and push kind of guy, float down the mound sort of thing. So as soon as the season got cut short, it was like, all right, time to work on these things and try and get them figured out. And so now it's kind of more of a focus of, staying grounded on the heel. And then I almost think in my head, like sitting back, that feeling of like being back more and getting more into my glutes, I guess, than rather than to that quad. And then the other area of focus was I'm just trying to keep my toes of my front leg closed as long as possible. I had a tendency to, open up a little bit early. And so when I focus on that, it's more of that late and quick rotation, which kind of gives me that power.
Have you seen a little bit more hip shoulder separation? Because I had noticed that you flew open a little early in some of your, not 2020 appearances, but the brief 2019. You'd fly open early a little bit. Are you noticing that your hips are able to stay in the pitch a little bit longer?
Yeah, so that's kind of the focus, is keeping them involved and actually using them a little bit rather than being all upper body. But so, yeah, just trying to get that late fire with them and keep them kind of locked in a little bit for as long as possible.
Love it.
Awesome. Trying to think of another question here. Well,
I got one for you. You've only got 6 innings at this point. Mainly a reliever. What do you hope to represent for Indiana baseball this next spring? Are you gunning for a weekend rotation spot? Kind of where do you see yourself fitting in for the Hoosiers?
Yeah, definitely going for that one of those weekend spots. That's a big goal of mine, is to move into the rotation. And I think just the big thing for me is like I said, getting those innings under my belt and just being able to help the team out this year, as the past 2 years wasn't able to too much. Just being able to put us in a spot to hopefully win each time I'm out there.
For sure.
Sweet. Well, I'm kind of all out of baseball questions, Joe. I don't know if you had any more on you.
Oh, I'll keep them coming for our guy. I want to talk tech, because right out of the gate, you had mentioned the spin rates, the velos. You seem like you have a pretty good understanding of your kinetic chain. How involved are you in tech? How involved is Indiana in tech? Do they set you up on Edgertronics? I'm assuming Rapsodo or TrackMan is a big part of your training.
Yeah, we got pretty much all the stuff. So we got the Rapsodos for bullpens and everything. We got the Edgertronic camera set up, TrackMan for the in-game stuff, and luckily we got Denton Sagerman. He literally has a degree in like rocket science, so he's like a genius and kind of dumbs it down for a lot of us, which has been pretty nice. But yeah, we use it a ton, and specifically in the bullpens, using it a lot to tell the difference in the breaking balls and trying to get those separated for me specifically, and sort of the thing like with the tilt of the hand and the angle at release for the changeup sort of thing, just getting on top of it. So we use it a good amount.
It's a huge part of modern baseball now. I mean, as you work your way up the ranks, once you get into a big league organization, data is going to be a big part of it. Is that something that you were exposed to early on in high school, or is this something that has just been kind of thrust at you in college? And the second part of that question is, how quickly have you picked it up?
Yeah. Like I said, picking up the actual technology stuff has been pretty easy, pretty quick. I'm usually pretty good with numbers. And then, like I said, Denton, dumbed it down for a lot of us too, which was nice. But as for like getting exposed to it in high school, I guess I was kind of just late in general of pitching and everything. I didn't really start seriously pitching until junior year, and I think a little bit because I am young and was a little bit of a late bloomer. But so at that point, it was more just focusing on mechanics stuff, not really looking at a lot of numbers and different things. So my pitching coach in town had the Rapsodo and stuff, but we didn't really use it a ton at that point because it was more the mechanical stuff.
Sure. Well, McCade, I don't have too many more questions for you. Like you kind of hit on at the beginning of the interview and just now, you're young, you're still learning, you're still kind of figuring out who you are as a pitcher. But I don't know if there's too many arms in this class that have the projection and the ceiling that someone like you does. You've made obviously huge strides this summer. So we're really excited to see where you go. I do have to hit you with one final question because we got to keep you on your toes. You know how we do it, and it's a lot more fun. It's a lot more fun with the college guys that have seen a little bit more of the country. I know that you've only thrown 6 or 7 games at this point, but you've seen a lot of fan bases. And I got to ask, in the Big Ten, who is the most lacking fan base out there? Who needs to get out and support their team?
Man,
put a target on your back for 2021.
I guess we only got to go to a couple places my freshman year. Man, that's tough. Who didn't have a ton of fans? Oh, I don't want to get in bad blood with anybody, but I guess when we were out at Maryland didn't have a ton of fans out there. It was a lot of just family and stuff. So it was a little chilly too, I guess, so that could be part of it, but we'll go with them.
Well, McCade, you have all but guaranteed Maryland is going to come out in droves when Indiana comes to town. I hope for your sake you have a weekend spot and you hear it from those guys loud and clear. Hey, man, thank you so much for joining the show. We really enjoyed having you on. Obviously, like I said, big projection guy. We think you're going to do big things in 2021, and we can't wait to see where you end up next July.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys having me.
All right, man.